Welcome to September 16th, 2024 Sparks Nevada Housing Market Update. So this data pertains to stick-built homes only. And we've been seeing some steady behaviors right now in Sparks. So we saw some downward trends happening in Reno, but like I mentioned, that's median prices. So that could just mean some expensive homes left the marketplace. To be determined yet, but I'm not seeing downward trends in other markets, which makes me think it might not be like the value of a house is going down, but just the overall purchase prices of homes have been changing as a whole data set. So let's dive into Sparks and median sales price. So right now it's $544,500, up a little bit from this time last year, 7.3%, but look at the trend line. It is pretty level. So if you watch my Reno report, you saw the downward trend. This is why I'm a little early to say that a value of a house is going down right now, because Sparks is not, it's holding steady. So that could just be an inventory type thing. Different types of inventory are leaving the marketplace. That can affect median information. So right now, the prices are holding pretty steady. And I say that just because if you look at the left, the trend line is up and down, but level. It's not really upward trends or downward trends. We did kind of see it go up at the start of this year, but it's been plateaued basically all of summer. I haven't really seen, maybe it's a tiny increase, and it's definitely up from this time last year. But month over month, it's starting to kind of plateau. We haven't seen those prices start to go down or soften yet. Sparks still has a lot of newer homes in the marketplace, and a lot of them are finishing, but they're breaking ground again on new stuff. So there's a lot of newer units available in Sparks compared to Reno. So there's actually a lot of sales data in here that's not even reflected, because a lot of the builders don't report their sales to the realtor system. So this is just resale homes and new homes that are on the marketplace, but you can see it's holding steady right now. We're not really seeing a downward trend in prices. And if you watch my Reno video, there was a downward trend, but this makes me think that then it's not like the market's going down. Maybe there's just a little bit of an inventory shift. Jumping over to closed units. So we had a big spike of closed units in Sparks. Actually, it was the biggest in the last year. Why? Who knows? Maybe a wave of new construction homes. Maybe there were some folks that were trying to chase the school season and then finish up their closings. It could be a compound of reasons. So we had a little spike right there for quite a while, but you can see overall it's been pretty level behaviors right now. Anywhere from 30 to 40 units per week, give or take, is about typical for the Sparks marketplace. We had that big kind of jump up almost at 50, but that was just the one moment. It's quickly adjusted again. But overall, you see kind of level trend of closed sales. This is kind of what's happened over the last month, is what this data represents. Pending sales are still holding strong in Sparks. So we talked about this a little bit in the Reno video. We're getting ready to end this market cycle and enter a new one. When's that going to happen? Some people think it's going to happen this year. I'll definitely say with confidence it's going to happen in the next 6 months. So between now and March, we will be entering some kind of a new market cycle. And a lot of people are already anticipating those changes. So right now, pending sales, you can kind of see that they're pretty steady right now, kind of going up and down, but basically anywhere between 35 and 30 units per week. We've kind of had some lower weeks down in the 26s. So within about 10 homes, let's call it 25 to 35 homes per week. But see how the trend line's level. It has its ebbs and flows because it's weekly data, but it's not going up and it's not going down. It's basically plateaued since about April of this year. And we're not seeing that go down just yet. So that's what's interesting is, yes, we have those 2 weeks of downward trends, but if we see those continue to go downward, then yes, we've kind of hit our seasonality in Sparks. But I mentioned in Reno, that was the 5th most active week in the entire last year, was last week. So that could happen very well in Sparks, especially if you have a dry winter. Ice can always mess with the real estate markets, but if rates start going down over this winter and fall months, then that should make people more active in the marketplace because their affordability improved. So that should make for unusual activity with buyers throughout the winter months. So we're anticipating a busier season than typical, especially over the last 2 years, that it will be a busier real estate market this winter and fall compared to the last 2 winters and falls. Jumping over to days on contract. So we're actually on an upward trend in Sparks. So right now it's just passing a month for the typical time it takes to find a buyer and a seller to accept an offer from that buyer. That can be from a compound of reasons. We are finding correctly priced properties are moving pretty quickly. So we're finding if you're priced correctly and the buyer agrees to the market price, we're seeing homes go under contract in 14 days, 7 days, happens all the time. But what we're also finding is that sellers are doing a pricing strategy as though the market is increasing, and they're doing it at a rate larger than the market is increasing at. If your home is overpriced, your home will sit. So that happens a lot too, where folks will overprice their houses. Their house will sit, then they have to do some price reductions, then they find the right price, and then they get their offer in 7 to 14 days. When you're doing that type of strategy, it just takes longer. So that's what you see a lot of this data here is some houses are sitting simply because they're overpriced. If they're priced correctly, the market is moving and it's moving pretty quickly. Right now, we're about the same. I know it says 12.5%, but it's only 4 days difference. So last year was about 32 days. This year is about 36 days. So about the same behavior from this time last year. But if you look at trend lines, we did get pretty active there in the beginning of the spring, under 10 days on market, but now it started to climb up again. And we're seeing that continued upward trend. Available homes for sale. So right now, just like last year, if you're a buyer, this is the most selection you've had in the last year of homes that you can consider buying. So this is the biggest selection available that's been in the marketplace in the last year. So that's a huge opportunity for buyers to get out there, go look at options available because you can see some of the trend lines. There's been markets where buyers have had very little to choose from. Not the case. Right now, you have lots to choose from. If homes are sitting on markets and they're a little higher than you originally want to pay, head on out there. Maybe the seller's getting ready to do a price reduction. So think about those type of things. Right now, you can see it's kind of plateaued. So we haven't yet started the downward trend of seasonality. You can see our downward trend of seasonality began last year, kind of near the tail end of September. So, but we're already we're acting higher than we did this time last year. And who knows what will happen if rates do substantially start changing over the next few months, what that will do to the marketplace. Will that make sellers who have been itching to get out of their house put a for sale sign in and go buy another house? Very possible. So you could see other folks enter the marketplace that have been waiting for the last 2 years while this market cycle takes its course. We'll see. But right now we're plateaued. We haven't hit the downward trend of seasonality yet. And this is the most selection of homes that buyers have had to consider in the last year in the Sparks marketplace. Jumping last to new listings. This is kind of a forecast model. What's to come in the upcoming months because folks need to sell their homes for the market to move. So right now you can kind of see it hasn't downward trend. We had a little bit of a slope starting in about May. But then honestly, it's just kind of sitting steady. So you can see kind of the upward trend from November of last year all the way up to May. And is it going down a little bit? I mean, we've had such big peaks sometimes that it kind of balances out and almost calls it level. I guess one could argue there's a tiny downward trend there, but not much. And when you have the big weeks of inventory hitting the market, it kind of almost balances out. So right now, I'm going to call it steady. We're seeing steady new homes hit the marketplace. We would have to see that really start to drop to see inventory shrink and the market slow down in our fall and winter months. Right now, that's not happening. And again, it could be because folks are anticipating lower interest rates, so they're excited to get their home on the market and hopes that buyers are out there and will give them offers. Now, unfortunately, just because of the still affordability ceiling we've had for the last 2 years, if you overprice your house, you're going to sit. You're not going to sell. Buyers do expect you to be correctly priced in order to give you offers. Typical percentage of asking prices are very, very high, which means buyers are not offering aggressively. They will watch your house and wait for it to reduce to the price that they want before they'll make their offers. Why, I don't know, but it's been that way for like the last 10 years. So understand you have to be price right if you want to sell your home. So overall, in the Sparks marketplace, pretty steady still. We haven't seen actual changes of seasonality just yet. By the next time of this report, we'll be normally in the traditional swing of seasonality. So we'll see if that's happening or if it's going to behave in a different way because of our market cycle shift that we're about to go through in the next 3 to 6 months. We will see. We will see. I don't know. I can't forecast right now because we're going to have this new level, this new variable of the financial market. So just like when I started reporting on the start of this whole financial market, now this cycle's coming to an end. So what is that going to do to the real estate market? It's really hard to forecast. It's very realistic for it to be unseasonable behaviors. And we could see a different type of marketplace this winter than we've seen in years past.